Hi, good morning to all. Welcome, my dear students. Welcome to the online video class session of political science. So let us discuss about the paper third semester. The paper third semester is titled as the Indian political thought. So in the part of this Indian political thought, we have to discuss about the various eminent personalities of Indian political thought who has contributed their ideas, their thoughts to the Indian political thought since from the beginning. So ancient, medieval, and modern. So before going to in detail about the Indian political thought, so I would like to introduce myself. That my name is Dr. Maite Ramlu, a faculty in political science, Department of Political Science, TTRRDC, Karimnagar. So my dear students, before going to in detail about my lecture, I was prepared PPT. I was used the teaching aid of PPT. So PPT means PowerPoint presentation. So your PowerPoint presentation gives you a kind of a kind of good understanding. So it helps you to very very useful. And it as for the psychology, the PPT or PowerPoint presentation or a pictorial teaching is better than the normal teaching. So the pictorial teaching is gives a critical thinking to the students, and it is also helps to you to remember long time than the normal concept, normal teaching. So that is why I was uh, inserted some images in the PPT. So while you are listening the class, please observe the pictures which are relevant to that particular concept. So it will takes to you that imagination. So here, with the pictorial teaching or PPT teaching, the students will be develop their critical thinking. Okay. So my dear students, before going to in detail about uh, the third semester of political science, uh, let me share PPT. So my dear students, in the third semester, the paper title itself is as the Indian political thought. So in the part of Indian political thought, we need to discuss 5 units. 5 units. The first unit is exclusively deals about the ancient Indian political philosophers like Manu, Kautilya, and Buddha. And the second unit is exclusively deals about the medieval political thought. So in the medieval political thought, we need to discuss two important personalities such as Basava and Ziauddin Barani. Here, Basava was proposed the Anubhava Manthapa and gender equality. And whereas Ziauddin Barani is one of the greatest Muslim philosopher who was proposed the ideal state and ideal sultan. So Basava Ziauddin Barani was the contemporary of Delhi Sultanate. And the third unit onwards, it is deals about the modern political thought. So in the modern political thought, the third unit is exclusively deals about the Renaissance political thought. So in the part of Renaissance political thought, we need to discuss two important personalities of modern India, such as the Rajaram Mohan Rai and Mahatma Jyotirao Phule. And in the fourth unit, we need to discuss about the reformative political thinkers. So here again we have to discuss about two legendary heroes of Indian political thought of modern India. So one is the father of Indian nation, Mahatma Gandhi, and another one is the father of Indian Constitution, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. And finally, we need to discuss about the the socialist thought. So in the part of socialist thought, we need to discuss about three important personalities. One is Jay Prakash Narayan and Manavendranath Rai and Jawaharlal Nehru. So this is a complete picture of the Indian political thought, which we need to study in detail. So before going to in detail about this personality, so let us discuss today about the Renaissance thought. So in the part of Renaissance thought, we we are going to discuss about one of the legendary hero of the modern state, modern India, is Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai is one of the most important political and social reformer. So please observe the images. I was introduced myself that I am Dr. Ramlu Maitri, a Department of Political Science, TTRRDC, Men Karimnagar. So please observe the PPT carefully. So before going to introduction, that the Raja Ram Mohan Rai is one of the greatest personality of India. So he was considered as the father of Indian Renaissance. Father of Indian Renaissance. So what is, first of all, what is Renaissance? So Renaissance is nothing but in a single statement that to quit the traditional methods and welcoming the new methods. So in every aspect, socially, economically, politically, culturally, so we have to quit and we have to stop the traditional old methods and we have to welcome the new methods and a new system. So it is, Renaissance is nothing but rebirth. So the rebirth of the culture is called Renaissance. So that is why the father of Renaissance is none other than the Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So he was also not only the father of Indian Renaissance, he was the father of modern India. So he was called as father of modern India by one of the greatest, the moderate freedom fighter, Gopala Krishna Gokhale. So Gopala Krishna Gokhale was one of the most senior Indian national freedom fighter who belongs to moderate phase. He was called him as the father of modern India. So the Raja Ram Mohan Rai was established Brahma Samaj. So the Brahma Samaj is one of the religious organization, and it was given a kind of service to the society. So he was started Brahma Samaj with his friends. Actually, it has its old name like Atmiya Sabha. We will discuss it later when it comes to the in the part of our lesson. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai was a multilingual. So he has known approximately 17 languages. So that is why he was called as a polyglot. He know Tamil, English, Hindi. These are the Indian languages. He also learned some foreign languages like Hebrew and Greek. So he was learned Greek. He was learned Hebrew because of to study the Bible, the original Bible. Actually, the Bible was originally printed in every language. So he learned Hebrew. And Raja Ram Mohan Rai also titled as Raja by the Akbar, the greatest Akbar second Mughal emperor. So Akbar second Mughal emperor is one of the great humanitarian. So even though he was belongs to Muslim ruler, but he was maintained the religious harmony. He was appointed Hindus, intellectuals in his dynasty. So that is why Raja Ram Mohan Rai was got an opportunity to work under the Mughal emperor of Akbar II. And Raja Ram Mohan Rai was not only influenced the Indian fields like politics, public administration, press, education, religion, and also in the society. So he was not influenced the single field. He was influenced the almost all the fields of the society like politics, public administration, press, education, religion, everything. So that is why the British Broadcasting Council, the British Broadcasting Council is one of the greatest broadcasting council in British. So it was try to identify the Indian eminent personalities. So Rajaram Mohan Rai was ranked as the 10th greatest Bengalian according to the British Broadcasting Council. So why? Because the Bengal is the first capital city of the British India. So almost the British East Indian Company and the British rulers were first started all the development activities in Bengal. So that is why Bengal is somewhat development, the most advanced development princely state, the province of British India. So from there, from the Bengal, the many eminent personalities were emerged as leaders from the Bengalian. But out of many leaders, the Rai was ranked as a 10th greatest Bengalian. So here, Rajaram Mohan Rai Award in 2009 was given to the Gulab Kothari. So because the Press Council of India was announced the Rajaram Mohan Rai Awards from 2019 onwards. So on the memory of Rajaram Mohan Rai, because Rajaram Mohan Rai was one of the greatest journalists of the 18th and 19th century. So on the memory of him, the Rajaram Mohan Rai was awarded to the Gulab Kothari. So here, who is Gulab Kothari? So Gulab Kothari is one of the chief editor of Rajasthan Patrika. He is one of the chief editor. He is a famous journalist. So he was not only the chief editor of the Rajasthan Patrika, and he was a very good writer, author. So he was before in 2019, he was awarded 2011 as another award. So, okay, we need not to discuss about Gulab Kothari in detail. So, but let us go in detail about our legendary hero Rajaram Mohan Rai. So, while we are observing the life sketch of Rajaram Mohan Rai, so Rajaram Mohan Rai was born on 22nd May 1772 at Radhanagar of Hooghly district. So Hooghly district is one of the district which is located in the Bengal province. So Bengal presidency. So his father was the Ramakant Rai. So Ramakant Rai was a Vaishnavite, is very good orthodox traditional fellow. And his mother was Taruni Devi, which belongs to Shivite. So Rajaram father was Ramakant Rai, he was a Vaishnavite, and his mother was Taruna Devi Shivite. So in the Hindu religion, there were two denominations. So Shivites and Vaishnavites. So those who follow to Shiva, they are called Shivites. And those who are followed the Lord Vishnu is called Vaishnavites. So not only in Hinduism, there are different kinds of denominations in the Christian. For example, if you take Christianity, so the Catholics and Protestants, there are two denominations. If you take Islam, Shias and Sunnis, so there are also two denominations. So like that, in Hinduism, there are two denominations in those days. So the Vaishnavites, they used to worship Lord Vishnu, and the Shivites, they used to worship Lord Shiva. So there was a kind of controversy between these two groups. So even though Ramakant Rai was married Taruni Devi, who belongs to Shivite, so he received basic education. The Rajaram Mohan Rai was received basic education in Bengal province, because the Bengal province is one of the best place in those days, because almost the British development activities were taken place in the Bengal by the Britishers invasion. So he became the great scholar of Sanskrit, Persian, English, Arabic, Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Bengal, and Hindi. So that is why he was called as a polyglot. So he was known as the multilingual. So that is why he was considered as the champion of the 18th and 19th century. His contribution is very much to the Indian society in the end of the 18th century and the beginning of the 19th century. The Mughal Emperor Akbar II was one of the greatest humanitarian ruler of Mughals. So uh, titled as he was titled Mohan Rai as Raja because he was worked as ambassador on behalf of the Mughal emperor. He was went to London as ambassador of the Mughal Akbar II. So he was worked in the under the Mughal Emperor Akbar II, and as well as he was also worked in British East India Company. So in East India Company, he was worked from 1803 to 1815. So approximately he was worked 12 years in the British East India Company as a administrative officer. And later on he was promoted. That is, we need not to discuss in detail about that. But he was worked under the British East India Company. So he has a good knowledge about the British East India Company's activities and reforms. And when he was worked under the British East India Company, he always tries to mingle with the British officers. He was maintain a good relationship with British officers, and he was a best uh, friend of the Bengal district collector, and he was the best friend of Robert Owen. So Robert Owen is one of the greatest social reformer who is belongs to the British. So British social reformer Robert Owen was the best friend because the Robert Owen ideas are same, and at the same time the Raja Ram Mohan Roy's ideas were same. That is why they are become a good friends because their ideology is different. Their ideology is the same. He is also social reformer in British, and here the Raja Ram Mohan Roy is the social reformer in India. So their ideas are same, their thoughts are same. So that is why they become a good friends. And he was the contemporaries of Jeremy Bentham. So Jeremy Bentham, who was proposed the utilitarian theory in the political science. So each and every individual has the pleasures and pains. The pleasures and pains was calculated by the Jeremy Bentham with the telescopic calculus. So this is about the life sketch of Rajaram Mohan Rai. So let us discuss about his books. So he was a great scholar. We already studied about that. He was a great scholar, and he was translated many religious books into various languages. For example, he was translated philosophical works and religious works. So he was translated many books into Bengal and also in English. So he was called as a polyglot because English, French, Greek, Hebrew, Hindi, Bengali. So like that, 17 languages. So that is why he was considered or called as a polyglot. And he was written a letters to the William Pitts. So William Pitts is the Governor General of India at the time of 1823 to 1828. So he was always tries to give a kind of a petition regarding the English education in India. So he was one of the pioneer of the English education. He was always tries to mobilize the British officers to impose or to implement English education in India. So he was also written some books. For example, Tuhafat-ul Mutwadin. So Tuhafat-ul Mutwadin is one of the Persian language. So this is proposed. This book was proposed the monotheism. So he was also translated the Hindu scripts like Vedas and Upanishads. So he was written the book, the Vedanta Sutra, by translating Vedas and Upanishads. So in the to why he was written, why he was translated the Vedas and Upanishad, because of to prove the monotheism. So monotheism. So here monotheism is nothing but only one God. The creator is only one. He is the God. So there is no more than one God. So that is monotheism. And let us discuss about his titles. So Rajaram Mohan Rai was titled as Raja. Actually, his original name was the Mohan Rai. Mohan Rai. So, but Mohan Rai became the Raja. So, Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So, Raja Ram Mohan Rai was titled as Raja by Akbar II, who is the famous Mughal emperor. And he was also titled as the father of modern India. So, father of modern India was, the title was given by the Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So, Gopal Krishna Gokhale is one of the famous moderate Indian freedom fighter. And he also titled as the pioneer of India or pioneer of Indian Renaissance. So he also titled as the precursor of India. So precursor is nothing but the who imagined the India in future. So always Rajaram Mohan Rai thinking about the future India. So how the India would be in 19th century, how India would be going to be as in 20th century. So like he was the precursor of India. So the precursor of India is title which is given by Rabindranath Tagore to the Rajaram Mohan Rai. And he was also titled as the Herald of New Age, the Herald of New Age. So these kind of titles he was got in those days because of his contribution. Okay, so that is Rajaram Mohan Rai's contribution. So he was led some newspapers like Miratul Akbar. So the Miratul Akbar is in Persian language. It was delivered, and the Sam Samvada Kaumudi. Samvada Kaumudi is one of the Bengali language weekly newspaper, and also it was released the way Vangadut of Bengali. Vangadut. So the Vangadut itself is in a Bengal language. So Vangadut means the Bengali Dut. So these are the newspapers it was run in those days. So let us discuss in detail about the contemporary situations of Rai's time. So when Rai was living in India, approximately 19th century, he was proposed various things like. So let us discuss in detail about the contemporary situations of Rai's time. The entire Rai's time duration is categorized into five types, such as if we discuss about the social divisions or social division. If we discuss about the social division, the entire society is divided into Varna system. So the Varna system is proposed by Manu in his Manusmriti. Okay, so Manusmriti was a book which is written by Manu. In that book, he was explained about the Varna system, and he was explained about the origin of states, the theory of origin of states. So in the theory of origin of state, Manu was proposed the divine origin theory. So in the as per the divine origin theory, the God is created to the society. Here, the ruler is the representative of God. So the entire society is categorized in four varnas, like Brahmins. So Brahmins are born from the head of the Brahma. Here, according to Manu, the Brahma is the creator of the society. So Brahmins are born from the head, and whereas the second category is Kshatriyas. The Kshatriyas are born from the shoulders of the Brahma, and whereas the third category, who were called as the Vaishyas, the Vaishyas are born from the thighs of the Brahma. And the last group is the Shudras. The Shudras were burned from the foot of the Brahma. So observe the picture. I was given a kind of picture to for the sake of your understand. So here the Varna system was strongly rooted in India in those days. And beside the Varna system, within the Varna fold, there are n number of caste systems were there. So, for example, within the Brahmins, there were various groups like Sharmas, Shastris, so like that. And if we take Kshatriyas, so Kshatriyas also various groups, and Vaishyas and Shudras. So within the Shudras, there are n number of caste groups are emerged. So based on their occupations, and these are the system was appeared in those days, prevailed in those days very rampantly. So if you go the second category, the social evils was very danger to the any society. So in those days, rise time was there are various kinds of social evils was in practice in those days, like untouchability. So untouchability is one of the danger evil to the social India, to the India, particularly the ancient India or in the medieval India, or even though in the modern India, even today the untouchability is in practice in some of the corner villages of the state. So the untouchability is very much practiced in those days. The Rajaram Mohan Rai was get a kind of uh, disturbance by the untouchability. So he was that untouchability is not get to start. That kind of practice he was there in those days. So he was inspired by the untouchability. He has to decide to eliminate the untouchability. And there were the child marriage system was there in those days. Actually, the concept of child marriage is appeared as in Manusmriti. So Manu was strongly stated that there should be a child marriages. Actually, a father has to provide marriage to his daughter before her puberty. So that is a rule of a traditional rule of the Manusmriti. So if a father is failed to provide marriage to his daughter before puberty, he has to be punished. The father has to be punished. So that kind of punishments were there in those days. The women were not given priority in the society by the Hindu social orthodoxical traditional beliefs. And there was a practice of polygamy. So polygamy is nothing but more than one wives. Actually, the Indian society is male-dominated society, patriarchal society. So in the according to the Hindu mythological system, the woman is subjugated in all aspects. The man is superior than the female. The male has right to get more than one marriages, but whereas woman doesn't have any right to get remarriage or second marriage. So that kind of practice was there in those days. So the polygamy is one of the most dangerous social evils in those days. So the child marriage, if a woman's husband has died, so she has to be a single until uh, her death, or a kind of sati system was there in those days. The sati system is nothing but it is one of the bad social evil. So sati system proposing or highlighting that if a husband dies, his wife is also proposed to die along with her husband. So that kind of traditional orthodoxy is there in those days. And this sati system was initially it was voluntary, but later on it was become the force by the religious activities. And the forced widow also one of the social evil of those days. And another important social evil is of those days is the denial of non-Brahmin education. So according to Manusmriti, the education is only the quest of Brahmins, only the quest of Brahmins. So non-Brahmins are not allowed to get education. And within the Brahmins, the woman is not allowed to get education. So that kind of practice was there in those days. So these all were denied and supported by the Hinduism and opposed by Raja Ram Mohan Rai. And if we go in detail about the religious superstitions of the Roy's time or 19th century, so there were idol worship was very much rampant in those days. So observe the images. So even today, also the idol worship is there or in practice. And in those days, the animal sacrifice is very rampant in those days. And there were blind beliefs in those days. So the people doesn't have the thinking sense, the rationality sense. They always follow whatever the Brahmins used to say, they has to be followed. So that kind of superstitions, religious superstitions were there in those days. So if we observe the political culture of Rajaram Mohan Rai's time, there was a silent. The common people doesn't have any voice to raise voice about their problems. They always keep quite silence, and they have been as obedient to the Britishers and as well as the Brahmins, and they have always show a kind of loyalty to the Britishers. So the common people doesn't have any right to raise their problems or to raise their questions about their problems, and they always shows a kind of obedience. If someone is racist, he has to be punished, and they always be as subordinates to the Brahmins and as well as the British rulers. So in those days, there are two groups which are dominating to the common people, majority of the people. So the British officers or Britishers and the Brahmins. So these are the two groups very much influenced to the non-Brahmin people or common people in those. So there was no assertions, even though they are getting a some kind of ill treatment, discrimination, or injustice, but they don't have right to do assertions in any form. They doesn't have any right. So they even though they doesn't have any criticism, they did not have any dare to criticize the Britishers and as well as the Brahmins. So that kind of attitude was there to the common people. In a, if we observe the political culture, this can be understand to us. So the people doesn't have any right to question the Britishers and the Brahmins. They have to bear by forcefully to the Britishers and as well as the Brahmins. So the British political dominance were there in those days. So beside the political dominance of the British, the orthodoxical dominance of Brahmins is also there. So these two kinds of dominances were suppressed the Indian people. So this was influenced by the British Raja Ram Mohan Rai, and he was thinking to eliminate or to change the political culture of the contemporary times. He was mobilized the people, and he was try to encourage the people to question, or he was try to encourage the people to ask questions, to raise voices, or to towards the assertions, and they were mobilized. Rajaram Mohan Rai and his friends were mobilized, tried to mobilize the common people towards the religious dominance and the British political dominance. And if we observe another economical base on agriculture and traditional service, so in those days, in the 18th and 19th century, the agriculture is main source to the Indian economy. So 90% of the agriculture economy was there, and there was caste-based occupations were there. So it seems the India is completely depends on agriculture sector. So there was no industries until the invasion of British. So these kind of situations were influenced to Raja Ram Mohan Rai, and he was strongly decided to change that particular social events and political culture and economic culture of those days. And Raja Ram Mohan Rai has the the divergent views about the British rule. So he was a great political philosopher, no doubt at all, no doubt at all. So he was one of the greatest philosophers and the social activist. And he was not only the social activist, he was a social reformer, a journalist. He has know everything, what is right and what is wrong, because he was learned many languages and he was studies the Western concepts like liberty, equality, fraternity, justice. So he was know the Western political concepts, and he was studied the journalism, and he was always thinking in a critical manner, and he was educated. This is the most important thing in the Rajaram Mohan Rai's lives. If he was not get the knowledge of various sources from the various language, he cannot be questioned the British. And he was always try to give the importance to the woman. And he is also called as the woman emancipator, because with the invasion of Rajaram Mohan Rai, today's women life is somewhat better. So that is why he was called as the father of Indian Renaissance and the champion of 18th and 19th century. Is it? So he was contributed many things. He was touched with the political sector. He was touched with the administration. He was a journalist. He was educator. He was social reformer. He was a religious reformer. So he was. That is why he was called as the father of Indian Renaissance. But even though is intellectual, he had divergent views on colonial rule. He was worked under the British East India Company approximately 12 years, and he was also worked under the Akbar second dynasty, and he was gained the various experience, different kinds of experience from the two jobs, and he was try to thinking in a critical manner, and he expressed the divergent views over the colonial rule. As an educator or as a well-known person or philosopher, he was supported the British rule, one side. And at the same time, he was strongly opposed the British colonial rule or British uh, uh, attitude in another side. So that is why we can say that he has expressed the divergent views. He has expressed the divergent views about the colonial rule. So one is the positive views, and another one is the second one is the negative views. So let us discuss about in detail about the positive views of Rajaram Mohan Rai. So if we go in detail about the positive views of Rajaram Mohan Rai, the Rajaram Mohan Rai was strongly stated, quote unquote, strongly stated that the British rule in India is the blessing. It is a blessing. He was strongly stated that the British rule is a blessing to the India. Because why? Because as an employee of British East India Company, he was not said like this, but an educator and an emancipator of the women community, as a journalist. So he was thought in a critical manner and delivered a statement that the British rule in India is the blessing. So because the Britishers were developed various sectors, like they are developed the transportation, they were developed the communications, and they were brought various reforms. So, for example, if you take the transportation. They were developed the railway system. The first rail was started in India from Mumbai to Thane in 18th century. So that that railway transportation is brought a greatest the communication skill, and they were started the communication skill like telegrams and postal department. So the transportation and the communication skills were developed by the Britishers for the sake of their benefit only. But here the Indians, the intellectual Indians like Rajaram Mohan Rai and other many Bengalis and Phule, they were taken positive in that transportation communication. And Rajaram Mohan Rai was colonial rule initiated to modernization and industrialization. So according to Rajaram Mohan Rai, the Britishers were initiated modernization and industrialization. If there were no British rule, there might be no industrialization in India, and there was no modernization in India. So the Britishers were progressive enactments. They were done the progressive enactments. So they are established industries. So like jute industries, the sugarcane industries, the agro-based industries. So like that, they are established various kinds of industries in India for the sake of their benefit and as well as the Indians' benefit. So that is why the Rajaram Mohan Rai was stated the British rule in India is the blessing, and the colonial rule expedited progressive reforms. So they were expeditive progressive reforms. They were brought in number of reforms, social reforms, political reforms, religious reforms. So by these reforms, the Indians were enlightened in all aspects, socially, economically, politically, they were enlightened. For example, if you take the social reforms, so Sati, the Anti-Sati Act was they brought, and they were abolished the Jogini system. So Jogini system is one of the bad system which is prevailed in India in those days. The child marriages, the child before her puberty, she has to get married. So that kind of bad situations were there in those days, but they are expedited various progressive reforms. So this was appreciated by the Rajaram Mohan Rai, and they were brought various social reforms like against the idol worship and against the sacrifices of animals. So this is also appreciated by the Rajaram Mohan Rai, and there was brought various kinds of political reforms since from the 1773 Regular Act to 1940 Indian Independence Act of 1947. So they were brought a number of acts for the sake of to develop the administration system in British India, and they were separated the departmentalization. So the separation of departmentalization is for the sake of the administrative conveniences in the British provinces. So the separation of departmentalization is given a kind of transparency in the administration. So these are very much accepted by the Rajaram Mohan Rai. And the Britishers also brought various reforms about agriculture. They were brought various agriculture reforms. So like they were constructed various dams, irrigation dams. So they were collected taxes. So these are the some of the reforms which are supported by the Rajaram Mohan Rai, and Rajaram Mohan Rai was appreciated for the British English education. So education is emancipated the life of individuals. It is definitely 100% true fact. The Western education is changed the lifestyle of Indians, and they were learned many things from the Western curriculum. So, like they were learned about the political concepts like liberty, equality, fraternity, justice, and they were inspired by various Western books. Max Muller was translated the Hindu books into English, and the Thomas Paine, The Rights of Man, was inspired by many Indians. So, like that, there are various kinds of positive views by the Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So, if we go in detail about the negative views of Raja Ram Mohan Rai, so the Raja Ram Mohan Rai has also had the negative views. So he was opposed to the British racial arrogance. So he was opposed to the British racial arrogance, and he was opposed to the repression of the British in administrative apathy. So the Britishers are thinking that they have shown a kind of apathy to the Indian administrators or Indian princely states, but that is a bad apathy. They think that themselves that the Indian rulers are not good rulers, but they are badly created the Indian rulers, and they were captured the power of the princely states. And Rajaram Mohan Rai also strongly opposed the religious convergence, the forceful convergence of Christianity and its imposition. So he was welcomed Christianity, but he was strongly opposed to the forceful conversion or forceful imposition. So these are the important positive and negative views of Rajaram Mohan Rai, and he also called as the father of Indian liberalism. So Rajaram Mohan Rai was not only the what he was father of, yes, Indian Renaissance. He was father of modern India. Yes. So he was the social reformer and as well as the religious reformer. But Rajaram Mohan Rai also called as the father of Indian liberalism, the constitutional agitation for liberty, equality, freedom for all individuals. So he was studied the Western concepts like liberty, equality, and fraternity. So that is why he was strongly fight about the individual's liberty, equality, and freedom. Besides this, he was also given priority to the women education, women freedom, and the women have right to speech or freedom of speech. And he was strongly supported to the property inheritance and education and the consciousness of protest among the marginalized sections and as well as the women community. And he was supported to the freedom of press, freedom of expression, and against the exploitation. So these are the issues were highlighted by the Rajaram Mohan Rai. So that is why he was called as the father of Indian liberalism, and he was also called as father of Indian Renaissance. So because he was uh, given a kind of glorification of Indian heritage and culture, and he was a social, religious, and educational reforms for the sake of to relieve from the blind clutches of the Hindu Orthodox traditions to the people. So these are the issues were highlighted by the Rajaram Mohan Rai. That is why he was called as the father of Indian Renaissance. So finally, we need to discuss about his organization, father of Brahma Samajam. So actually, so Brahma Samaj is initially it is an Atmiya Sabha. So the Atmiya Sabha eventually took as the shape of Brahma Samaj. Actually, Atmiya Sabha was, which is organized by Raja Ram Mohan Rai and his friends in 1815. But this eventually changed or took the shape of Brahma Samaj in 1828. So here, with the Brahma Samaj, Raja Ram Mohan Rai was the first person who was started an organization. It is one of the important organization of religious reforms. So the Brahma Samaj was forbidden of idol worship, and this created the meaningless rites and rituals of Hinduism. And by this Brahma Samaj, they were opposed the untouchability and caste system, and at the same time polygamy and child marriages. And the 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 concept of child marriage is one of the bad evil of those days, and the caste system, polygamy, these kind of social evils was strongly opposed by the Brahma Samaj, and they were strongly supported to the widows' remarriages because they strongly mobilized the people. The woman is need to equality along with men. The woman's life is also life, and they were mobilized about the woman's life, and they were that is why they were strongly supported to the widows' remarriages. So Brahma Samaj attracted all the peoples irrespective of religions. So like Hindus, Muslims, Christians. So they were inspired or attracted all the religions. So the greatest achievement of the Brahma Samaj is abolition of sati in 1829. So here in the abolition of sati, the Raja Ram Mohan Rai's contribution is very much, is always given representation to the British to abolish the sati and to brought the Western education in India. So it advocated the abolition of polygamy. So that is why he always tried to give priority to the woman and his woman education, and he also demanded the rights of inherent property for the woman, and he strongly opposed the gender discrimination. So these kind of activities were led by the Brahma Samaj. So, but after the formation of Brahma Samaj, he was went to London. But when he was went to London, the two most important leaders of Brahma Samaj was the Debendranath Tagore and Keshav Chandra Sen. These were the two personalities led the Brahma Samaj in a to mobilize the people. And unfortunately, Raja Ram Mohan Rai was passed away, and the Brahma Samaj was taken splits. So this is a brief, the political thought of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So while concluding the session, so once again I was revised. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai is the father of modern India. Yes, he was the father of Indian Renaissance. He was influenced the various sectors, various departments or various areas like politics, journalism, education, religion, so on. And he was a polyglot. He was a great scholar of the modern Indian. So that is why he was called as the father of Indian Renaissance. So he was taken a special initiation to the remove from social evils of sati and brought anti-sati act in 1829 with the help of William Bentinck, the Governor General of India. So he had expressed divergent views on colonial rule, like positive views and negative views. And this is about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So he always welcomed the Western education and started Anglo-Indian schools and set up Hindu college in West Bengal. His ideas and philosophy is very relevant to the contemporary India. So my dear students, what I'm trying to say is that the the real gratitudes to our national leaders or our reformers. We have to follow their ideas. We have to take forward their ideas. We have to get inspiration from their contributions. So this is the real contribution from our side. So in those days, Rajaram Mohan Rai was supported the women education and women rights. But even today, the woman is subjugated by the men. The domestic violence is more even today. But this, the mindset of men has to be changed towards the woman and their education and their freedom and their rights. So like that, we have to follow the leaders' ideas, and we have to take forward it to the next generation. So, my dear students, my humble request is to you all of take inspiration like these real heroes rather than the real heroes. Real heroes are not the real heroes. Actually, the history says we have many number of real heroes in the history, like Rajaram Mohan Rai, Phule, Ambedkar, Gandhi, Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bala Gangadhar Tilak, Azad. So like this, there are a number of heroes. Take inspiration from them and carry forward their ideas. So that is the real contribution from our side to our nation and leaders. So bye, my dear students. Thank you. And I am going to conclude here. So bye, my dear students. Take care of yourself. Stay safe and stay home. So from this lesson, there will be asked some long questions like explain about the Rajaram Mohan Rai's divergent views about the colonial rule, and there is a possibility to ask about the Brahma Samaj and women empowerment and what is his religious activities. So like that, there are various questions we have to create from this concept, and we have to try to uh, give answers in our own understanding. So bye, my dear friends. Take care. Bye.